late at night. I fell asleep and was awakened by intense heat. I found my bed and curtains all on fire. All the bedclothes were blazing. I then went to Cartier's bedroom and, with his assistants, carried all the water in 3 adjoining rooms into mine. My shirt was burnt on my back, and my hair, forehead, and hands scorched.
MacDonald spends Christmas in bed with severe burns to his shoulder. By February, he has recovered enough to marry 32-year-old Agnes Bernard, whom he has finally won over. He ceases to be a widower, and she a spinster. As February turns to March, tension rises. At Westminster, the Conservative government is on the brink of falling, endangering the safe passage of the Canadian Bill. But the eloquent Colonial Secretary, Lord Carnarvon, gives the British North America Act its final push.
We are laying the foundation of a great state. Perhaps one which, at a future day, may even overshadow this country. But come what may, we shall rejoice that we have shown neither indifference to their wishes nor jealousy of their aspirations.
On March 29th, the Queen gives her consent to the union of her British North American colonies. Canada, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick will now become the Dominion of Canada. As they make their way home, the founding fathers of Confederation are in a philosophical mood.
No wonder the French follow political affairs in Canada with such interest. They cannot believe that we have undergone a major political revolution without spilling any blood, which they have done so prodigiously.
What kind of Canada did the citizens of the new Dominion wake up to on July 1st, 1867? It depended on where they woke up. In Ottawa, John A. is now Sir John A. Macdonald, the Prime Minister of Canada. His handsome office on Parliament Hill has all the modern conveniences, gas lights and running water. His wife, Lady Agnes Macdonald, begins a new diary.
This new dominion of ours came noisily into existence on the 1st. And the very newspapers seem hot and tired with the weight of announcements and cabinet lists. Here in this house, the atmosphere is so awfully political that sometimes I think the very flies hold Parliament on the kitchen tablecloths.
In Toronto, at the Globe office, George Brown has been up all night. At 7 a.m., he finally settles on a modest 9,000-word ode to the new country.
With the first dawn of this gladsome midsummer morn, we hail the birthday of a new nationality.
Everywhere, it is a dazzling, sunny day. The citizens of Upper Canada now live in a province called Ontario. The reverberations of a brass band can be heard in every town. In Kingston, a crowd gathers to ring in the new country. In Quebec City, a cannon is fired on the Plains of Abraham. Most Canadiens will spend time by the water, happy to have a long weekend. In Montreal, La Minerve, the paper most closely associated with Cartier, describes the country he has helped bring into being.
As a distinct and separate nationality, we form a state within a state. We enjoy the full exercise of our rights and the formal recognition of our national independence.
In Nova Scotia, the British colonist expresses the official view.
The days of isolation and dwarfhood are past. Henceforth we are a united people, and the greatness of each goes to swell the greatness of the whole.
In other quarters, the mood is distinctly truculent.
An effigy of Dr. Tupper was suspended by the neck all afternoon on the spot known as the Devil's Half Acre, and in the evening was burnt side by side with a live rat.
On this July 1st, Prince Edward Islanders have little to celebrate. No agreement has been reached on buying back their farms from absentee landowners. Like Newfoundland, they have not entered Confederation for now. Not until 1873 will PEI celebrate July 1st with the rest of Canada. But on this July 1st, the night is starlit and warm, a moment never forgotten by a young girl in Hamilton, Ontario.
There was the dark, and then there was the light of a candle. Then there was the opening of the great door and the rush of cool, fresh air and the deep darkness. "Oh, look," said a voice. The sky was suddenly full of shooting stars. There were fountains of stars, colored red and green and blue, spraying bright balls of color into the air. There were some which tipped their colors into the air to mirror them in the water. "This is the 1st of July in the year 1867, Father said. Always remember this day and this night. You're a very lucky little girl to be a child in Canada today."
Next on Canada, A People's History. The trials of the New Dominion. The murder that tested the tolerance of a nation. A prairie province born of an armed uprising. And the completion of a dream. Canada from sea to sea.